Marissa and I co-founded By Design Physio here in Hobart, clinical physio and a mentor to the team in our 400 square metre commercial gym and physio practice. Now, if I could tell you one thing that would reduce the prevalence of you getting injured, what would it be? It would be strength training. Every single person should strength train. Now, I can't promise that you won't get injured when you do this, but you'll get less injured and the injuries won't last as long and they won't be as bad. But like all humans, you can roll an ankle accidentally. You can stack it when you're running downhill. You can get tackled when you're playing sport or watch 2 tons of wood come into your driveway and have to unload that by yourself. These things happen. There is no magical exercise that makes you injury proof, but strength training is one of the best things to help you make more awareness of what's going on in your body and bring capacity into those muscles. So, strength training, let's break it down. There's actually research behind everything that I say today, because our whole background is evidence-based and we always prove to you that things are working. So research looks at sport injuries and prevention, and they found that strength training was the most effective intervention for reducing injury risk, with some research showing reductions in around 2/3 of the population that they studied. But honestly, even if you took that statistic away, I'd still tell you to strength train because I know it's so bloody good. Because when you understand that strength training actually does, like what it does to your body physiologically, it actually just makes sense. So, like I said, let's break it down. Life is a bunch of load. The first thing we need to understand is that life is load. Walking is load. Running is more load than walking. Picking up your kids is load. Carrying the groceries is load. And then sitting at your desk, going on a hike, wiping your legs, but also picking something up from the floor, gardening for 4 hours on a Saturday because you just love it and it's beautiful down in Hobart. I was going to say somewhere else, but Hobart is awesome. Playing sport, all of that, it is load. So when you go on holidays and suddenly you're going from 5,000 steps to 25,000 steps, that's also load. Your body is constantly being asked to tolerate physical stress or load. So rather than thinking, how do I avoid putting more stress onto my body? I want you to start to think, how do I build a body that can tolerate more of that stress? My threshold is higher. And that's where strength training becomes incredibly useful because you're deliberately exposing your body to load, but in a controlled environment. It's like training it. You're basically saying, here's a squat, here's a deadlift, or here's a sit to stand. Here's a bend, here's a lunge, which is kneeling, or here's a push, which is shutting a car door or pulling down like the boot of your car. Here's a calf raise, going upstairs, downstairs. Here is some load. So let's teach my body how to tolerate this. So then we gradually ask it to tolerate a little bit more when you wake up and you feel completely fine. You're like, oh, I probably could have done more. And that's training it. And that's how we actually get stronger, but also work out what our body can handle and our awareness of what we can do that feels good, but what we shouldn't do, what feels bad. So imagine your body has a certain amount of physical capacity. It can do this much. So we'll make the numbers super, super simple. Imagine your legs currently have a capacity of 100. Just pick random 100. And the hike you want to do requires 90 of that 100. That's pretty big demand relative to what you're capable of, right? Like you've only got 10 numbers left in the tank. So you're probably going to fatigue because we're on the upper threshold there. Things might start to feel heavy. You might get sore during or maybe directly after, or you might need a really long time to recover for that, say a week. Now imagine you've spent 6 months strength training and your capacity now isn't 100, but it's actually 150. So that hike, it hasn't changed like effort, it's still 90. Yeah, so your capacity though is so much higher that 90 is like blip, not even like a thought, really. You got so much left in the tank. So the same activity represents how much is a so much smaller percentage of what you're actually capable of. And that's one of the biggest reasons that I love strength training, because it just makes you more able. We're not necessarily making life easier by any means. It's always going to be somewhat hard. We're making you more capable of handling that life. And this applies everywhere. If you want to run, you have to build capacity. If you want to hike, you have to build capacity. If you want to play with your kids for more than 5 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, multiple hours of the day, build capacity. If you want to travel when you're 70 and carry your own suitcase up on a flight and put it up the top and pick it up the stairs rather than dragging it and getting someone else to do it, build your capacity. So strength gives you options, especially when you train for life, train in those movement patterns that you need in life or what you want to do and your goals. And then there's the obvious part. Your muscles get stronger. But strength training isn't just about having bigger muscles. Bigger muscles aren't always correlated with stronger muscles. Or maybe lifting something really, really heavy and impressive at the gym. Muscular capacity means that your muscles can produce and tolerate more force. Force is like a load. They can potentially do more work and they don't get as tired. And that matters because fatigue changes how you feel and how capable you are. Like if you're always tired, you can't keep up. Think about going for a massive walk when you're not conditioned for it. That 5,000 to 25,000 example. Those first few kilometers, you'll feel completely fine. But later, oh my gosh, you're going to be so busted. Your calves are going to be cooked. Your legs are going to feel really heavy. Your joints are going to feel really stiff. Your hips or your back might be tired or fatigued. Everything just starts feeling like work. Compare that to someone who's trained consistently, walks all the time, they can put a backpack on, they're practically running and talking at the same time, they're having a great time. They have significantly more capacity than that example. So the activity itself hasn't magically become harmless, but your body is simply better prepared for it. So that's what I want people to understand. That's what I want you to understand, is that strength isn't something just like you demonstrate in the gym by lifting a few weights and tucking your singlet on and showing people your muscles. It's something that you carry out of the gym and into your life. So you take it with you, and that's like how your program should represent. Like, what do you want to do? So there's another massive misconception as well, that people get sore tendons or sore joints, so these little things close to the bone, or the joint is the bone, and they immediately get scared of loading it again because I don't want to hurt it. They think my knee hurts, I shouldn't squat, or I shouldn't use it. And squatting is that sit to stand. Or my Achilles hurts in my ankle, I shouldn't load my calf. Or my shoulder hurts, I shouldn't lift anything overhead. I should just, nope, not going to do that. And sometimes we absolutely need to modify load because those are warning signs that our body's like, oh, probably did too much. But removing load forever isn't the answer, because your tissues are adaptable, your muscles adapt to the load that you give them, and the tendons adapt to that appropriate progressive load as well. Bones adapt to load. They actually get thicker, which is really fun. That's how you avoid osteoporosis. Your body is not this fragile thing that we're desperately trying to protect from every physical stress. We actually need appropriate levels of stress in order to make it adapt and do more. And that's literally what training is, and strength training very straightly is that as well. You apply enough stress to stimulate just a bit of adaptation, and then you recover, and your body goes, oh, I can do that again. That's cool, but I can do more. I don't want to feel like that anymore. I'm going to adapt. So then eventually you can actually tolerate more. That 90 goes to 100, that 100 goes to 120. So rather than asking, how do I protect this area that is sore forever? A better long-term question is actually, how do I gradually increase what this area can actually tolerate so next time that same thing doesn't fail me, doesn't hurt? And that's a completely different mindset, but does take a little bit of practice. You're not just going to be like, bang, I feel better. Pain isn't like, pain obliterate, it's gone. So there's another side to this as well. So because I'll get someone saying, well, I already strength train and I'm sore all the time. Cool. You're probably not strength training the right way for your body, and you need to train differently. Strength training shouldn't continually ruin you. Otherwise, you are pushing well past your boundaries and you don't know when to stop, what your capacity is. You don't need to crawl out of the gym unless you really want to. You don't need to be unable to sit on the toilet after leg day. Although when you're young, go for it if that's really what you want to do. But you don't need to train every day and every set to absolute failure, 10 out of 10. So being sore for 4 days doesn't automatically mean that you've had an incredible training session. Yeah, probably a bit silly. Training needs to be something that you can recover from within like a 24-hour timeline and then repeat it in a day or 2 days or 3 days. Because the thing that actually changes your body is not one heroic workout, it's months and years of appropriate loading and being consistent. So if your current program is currently destroying you, makes you skip sessions and fear the gym, or you can't do your sport, you can't run as well, or you're constantly getting new niggles, that's not automatically a strength training problem. It might actually be a programming problem. Sorry. Your dosage matters. Your recovery matters. Your exercise selection and where they sit in order, that actually matters. Your training history matters too. You can't be just starting at 100 if you are new to the gym. And progression matters. Graded overload. So what actually is strength training? What counts as strength training? Because I feel like everybody's strength training now. They got a couple bands or they're doing Pilates or something. And this is probably where people overcomplicate things or just don't understand. You don't need a lot of exercises. Think, I don't need 37 exercises. And you don't need some ridiculous Instagram or YouTube workout where you're balancing on one leg, standing on a ball, trying to touch your nose with a kettlebell on your shoulder, and then someone's throwing a tennis ball at you. It doesn't need to be complex. You just need your muscles to experience enough resistance that they actually have a reason to adapt to what you're giving them. And that's it. It just needs to be a bit hard on your muscles than it was last time. So I want you to get strong through useful patterns. You squat by sitting to stand off a chair every day. So add squats to your program. You bend over and pick things off the ground. Add hinging or deadlifts. You push things away. You pull things towards you. You kneel down or you stand on one leg, you walk, that's one leg. Or you carry things. Train your calves, train your arms, train your trunk, train your shoulders. Balance your program and move through useful ranges that you need in the life or the goals that you have. So gradually increase what you can do and push into new ranges with that strength that you're gaining, and then progressively add more weight each week. It could mean doing more repetitions of the same thing, or it could mean increasing the depth of your squat or your range. It could mean just getting better control and not shaking through things. Or it could mean progressing from a really supported movement on a machine to then trying those dumbbells and making it more challenging. But there should eventually be progression in what you do. It should get harder. It doesn't always have to be weight. So if you're doing the same exact 3 things with the same exact weight for 6 months, you probably have adapted already. So that stimulus has made you feel like you're not making much improvement because there's no adaptation. So you probably need to change it slightly. So change the pattern, change the load, change the range. And that should change every 6 to 8 weeks depending on what you're aiming for. So the last thing that's super important is when I tell people they should strength train, I'm not telling everyone they need to become a powerlifter. I don't expect you to lift heavy weights. Like, that is not what we need to do. And you don't need to love the gym either. It's just part of what you need to do to have longevity and do more. You don't have to wear a lifting belt. You don't need to go and grab those cool little grips or anything. You don't have to know what a 1 rep max is. And you don't need to train every day or 6 days a week or even 5 days a week. For a lot of people, 2 good strength sessions every week consistently can be so impactful on their lives. It is crazy. So I'd much rather you train consistently twice a week for the next 10 years than smash yourself for 5 days a week for 8 weeks and hate your life and never go back to the gym, but I tried that. The goal isn't to become obsessed with training, and it's not to hit a wall in a very small amount of time. It seems obvious, but the goal is to build enough physical capacity so that your training improves your life, improves your sleep, improves your nutrition, improves your body composition, improves how you feel, improves how you move, all of those fun things. It should move the needle in your life. You should notice. So this is also something I feel very strongly about as a physio. Rehab shouldn't stay rehab forever. If you get injured, you get a bunch of rehab, you calm your pain down, then that rehab is over. There might absolutely be a period where we're calming things down and you're learning what actually gets rid of your pain in a way. We're understanding what's sensitive, what you've done wrong, and you have to modify activity to find that out and calm it down. And then you have to rebuild into the movements that you once were avoiding or they hurt. And then you start with lighter exercises and you make sure every movement is balanced. You have to build the capacity back up in the things that you're avoiding, because if you avoid things, they get weaker. You get scared of them and then you start to compensate. So in 6 months, if you're still doing the same tiny ass rehab exercises that you were given in week 1, I'd be trying to understand why. Because getting someone out of pain isn't the finish line by any means. It's just the beginning. Get out of pain, calm it down. Let's get back to what you want to do. Can I run? Can I lift? Can I hike? Yeah, okay, but are there any things that are still like missing getting your body back to doing that stuff? Can you work? Can you play sport? Can you pick your kids up? Because if you start avoiding those things, those lists get bigger, you get more fearful, and you get more weak. Can you tolerate a busy week and not feel like your body is falling apart? So that's why strength training becomes so important. We don't just want relief from injuries, we actually want resilience and you to have nothing in the bucket of avoidance. You put that in there, you put that in there, put that in there. Let's pull those suckers out and empty that bucket when you are finished your rehab journey and or you are training at the gym and your program is good. We're talking specifically about injury risk today, but strength training gives you so much more than that, as you've probably just learned. You're maintaining muscle, you're supporting bone health when the muscle pulls on the bone, you're maintaining physical function as you age, or you're building your capability as you age, which is so much cooler. You can carry more without getting tired. You can get on and off the floor because you've got good joint range of motion. You can climb stairs without getting so puffed. You can keep doing hobbies because you're not told that you have to avoid them because you might hurt yourself, and you can feel physically powerful. And I think there's something really important psychologically about knowing that your body is capable. There's something so important about maintaining independence and feeling strong and capable. You stop looking at everything and thinking, can my body handle this? Like, what a crazy thought that you have to stop and think about. You might actually think, well, yeah, I reckon I can do that. Or you don't even have that thought. You just go and do it and you're not worried about the consequences. Hey, do you want to go for a hike on the weekend? Yeah, let's go. Like, you're not considering what you're putting in your backpack. You want to try a new sport? Yeah, great. Go and give it a crack because you know you can handle it. Or, hey, look, I want to go and travel and I'm going to have a wheelie bag and a backpack and I have to walk all day and there's stairs involved. Oh, I'm so excited. You want to lift something heavy, like things off the ground? Well, yeah, you've actually practiced doing that and you know what your limits are. So there's confidence that comes from physical capacity. So I guess to summarize all of this, what should you actually do if you're sitting there listening and you currently don't strength train at all? So you know me, I don't like overcomplicating things. So you don't need the perfect program, right? You just have to start. So aim for something that you can actually maintain. So just pick one day to start. One day is better than nothing. On Tuesday, I'm going to start. For a lot of people, that might mean 2 strength sessions, 3 strength sessions, 1 strength session. It doesn't matter. You just pick something for you. Then you have to learn some fundamental movements. Pull up YouTube and look up a squat. What is a hinge? What is a push pattern? What is a pull pattern? And I'll have more videos on these things, but just start diving in because the best way is to make it understandable. Train through your range. What can you handle in those movements? Start on a level that you can tolerate it at, have a break and do it again. And then you're progressing it and giving it time to get better. Don't destroy yourself. Don't commit to too many days. Don't commit to too long. And when it starts to feel a bit tired, walk out. You don't need to create enough stimulus for your body to adapt and then smash it, because strength is built over time. And it also is built from every positive experience you have, not the negative ones. Resilience is also built over time and when you stick to something long enough. So, if you ask me, what is the one thing you could start doing to reduce your risk of getting injured and maybe, be in less pain? I would strength train. Will it guarantee you'll never get injured? Absolutely not. You will find so many new things out about your body when you start strength training. But nothing can reduce your risk of getting injured. But if you build stronger muscles and you expose those tissues to more of a progressive load, you are increasing the amount of physical work that your body can tolerate or can handle. So you're giving yourself a bigger buffer between what life demands and what you can actually do. If you can do heaps of stuff, life demands mean nothing down here. It's not even a blip. So that's probably the biggest point that I want you to take away from this. We want to increase that gap between what you can handle and what you want to do, and vice versa. If you don't want to spend your whole life making things smaller and having things that you're like, oh, can I do those things? Then you should start strength training, and you want to build a body that's capable of doing so much more in your world. That's why I train. That's why so many of my clients continue to train once I suggest it to them and get them set up. And that's why, if you're not doing it already, I'd probably tell you to start.